Hey everyone, it's Sonia here. How are you today? Welcome to another heart to heart edition of our podcast episodes. And you know by now that heart to heart means that this is actually a video that is shared on YouTube as well. So this is episode 133. And I'm going to be completely honest. We don't have a name for it yet. We're going to organically see how it goes. We've got Mia with us today, like Mama Mia, full of life and energy. And I had to say it like that because she is so kind and so sweet and has, a soul that your soul is going to love
No.
100%. So, with no further introductions needed, I am going to pass the mic over so Mia can introduce herself.
Thank you. First of all, before I introduce myself, I just have to commend you. Episode 133.
Yeah.
Amazing. That's amazing.
Thank you.
Congratulations and good for you.
Thank you. Thank you.
What am I? I am a human being who is lucky
Yay!
enough, who's lucky enough to have been born in Canada. Lived
I feel
all
that.
over. I've lived all over Canada, Western Canada, Northern Canada. This is my 14th town, I believe. So I have had lots of experience moving around and changing and adapting. I'm grateful to have a beautiful son who now has two little munchkins, which makes me grandma times two. And in terms of what do I do in the world, I am a coach. And
This is real
talks
life, guys.
that talks
Shopping
to
for the
dogs.
dogs. Close the door. Sorry about that.
No problem. Um, in terms of what I do in the world, well, I do lots of things in the world, but like like what you would classify as a job.
Do. Sorry.
Do.
This is
Not to
adult
be
conversation here. Do's.
not to be confused with woo woo, which is what people think I do for a living. Um, so I was in the fitness industry for 30 years, more than 30 years, and multiple different ways, but I owned a couple of large facilities, which I sold my last one in 2016, and then I transitioned into the world of coaching, and now I've sort of married my experiences in life with my expertises, plural, and combine them into a form of coaching that really supports people that are in embracing the concept of massive change. So, couple things about me. I love change. I love fear. Uh, and I love people. Although I am an introvert who's really good at being extroverted. So there's a little bit about me.
I love that. And a couple things that you mentioned, I actually made some notes to make sure I didn't forget, but change and fear, those are things that people don't normally embrace
Oh.
at all. What led you to that?
I think
To
my
be
upbringing.
comfortable, like to be comfortable talking about change and fear that people want to push away from
Mhm.
and keep at
Yeah.
an arm's length. And yet you're sitting here saying to the world that you're comfortable.
Yeah, I'm super comfortable being uncomfortable. And I think that is my upbringing. So my dad was RCMP. I moved 14 times before I was 30 years old. That didn't include the number of houses. I think last time I counted it was 25 houses, 12 schools. So every 2 years we moved. And every move usually had two schools just because of the breakup of the ages, the
Mm.
grades. So I learned at a very young age that everything is going to change tomorrow and next week and next month and next year. So I just really got good at accepting change and embracing it and just going with the flow. And now it's almost the opposite. The pendulum's almost swung to the opposite, where I get really antsy when things stay too calm, too still, too normal, quote unquote, for too long. And then all of a sudden I have to create change. Sometimes that's good, sometimes not so good.
I get that. I get how sometimes creating change is not good. And this is the segue. So, for those that have been following along for quite a while, You know that I do these heart to hearts very impromptu. Normally, we don't even have a topic to talk about. We just jump in and chat. But today, and I'm going to be very open and honest about this. I talked about this in one of my episodes, maybe 4 or 5 episodes ago. So maybe 129, 130, about not as busy as serving you, but about being kind of swept away in a hurricane and feeling like so much is going on that you forget what you're doing, and you're not in charge of your mind anymore. You're just jumping in and going and doing. And so right before this call, we were talking behind camera, and I had to be reminded that we were actually doing the podcast. I actually said to me, I'm like, this is a podcast, right? And she's like, yeah. I'm like, because here's why, guys. I didn't update my notes. I had it in my book, but not in my CRM, and not to remind me. And I didn't ask her to update when she did the calendar to put in the reason. So we learn from these experiences. And, sometimes we do get swept up in that moment where we're part of the hurricane and we're no longer grounded.
Mm.
And this happens when change happens one way or another, when we're going through a transition and a shift. But Mia had said a few things before we got on camera, and it was about describing your favorite feelings of the season. And what I thought was magical about that is you had summarized exactly what I know other people are feeling and need to be doing more of. And I am one of those people. I've been practicing it because when it comes to change, there are so many different reactions. And when we're not in tune, those reactions take control.
Mhm.
When we are in tune, we slow down, we pause, we take accountability, like I just did, we reflect, and we realize, okay, this is happening. This is a transformation of sorts. So, talk to us a little bit more first, Mia, if you would, about how you had shared about this being your favorite time of year and why. And this will all segue to what I just said.
Yeah, I said this has always been my favorite time of the year. It's changed over the years because now I have grandbabies, so the focus is very different. It used to be all about my son and my family. Now it's more about my grandbabies. But what I love about the season hasn't changed. I love the music. I mean, it's almost like, well, I know it annoys the shit out of my family because I'll have Christmas music playing. I set Hallmark and Holly Channel on Sirius as soon as I see it start showing up in November. And then I secretly listen to them. And when I know someone else is going to be in the Jeep, I quickly change so that they're not seeing. I love the lights. I love as they slowly start to come on around the community. I love the darkness. I love the nesting. I love the warmth, the wood stoves. I love visiting. I love the cold. I love the stars. Like, I don't know, there's just something about Christmas. And I get that this isn't for everybody, but for me, this is how it feels. It just feels like such a joyful time of the year. And I do a lot of philanthropy work, and this is where all of my philanthropy work really comes to a crest. So it's always this time of year when I'm giving the most to, which is probably my favorite thing about Christmas is giving. I don't need a thing. I don't want a thing, but man, do I love giving.
Tell me a little bit more about that. Tell us a little bit more about how you feel when you give, because many people wait until they take care of themselves, their families, their first, their inner circle before they give to others. And let's talk about that because there's a lot of magic in that. And I know that's leading up to another key word that you had said earlier, about reflecting and
Hmm,
pausing
hmm.
and appreciating and the magic that brings it all together. So
Yeah.
go ahead. Yeah, share a little bit more of that
About the giving.
about the giving and what that looks like to you.
Yeah. I For me, giving is comes from a place of gratitude. So which is almost like the opposite. You'd think, oh, I'm so grateful that I received that. But the receiving and the gratitude that I get from giving is bigger than anything I could ever feel from receiving a thing, a tangible item. So this year, normally I have a foundation called the Bag Lady Project, and it's grown every single year for 13 years. And I hand sew all year myself these beautiful bags that are like a purse bag that you can drape over your shoulder. So I sew them all year long, and then I collect donations all year, usually from my clients and my friends and family. And then I take all that money and I fill all these purses with brand new items. And I've had a
Do-
couple of Instagram influencers who have sent me thousands of dollars of sunglasses and makeup and all this kind of stuff. So just imagine working on that all year. And then the day that you actually get to deliver that to the Transition Society and to Santa's workshop, the looks on their faces, the gratitude that they have for receiving all of this stuff that's going to turn around and be given to somebody in need, that is worth every moment of work that it takes to bring it together. Is just knowing that. I actually had a young girl say to me in the grocery store once, she was asking me why I was buying all this stuff. I said, oh, it's a project I do each year called the Bag Lady Project. She goes, I got one of your bags.
Mhm.
That was a goosebump moment.
I was gonna say it just gave me goosebumps. I had a feeling you were gonna say that, and this is what I said at the beginning, ladies and gentlemen listening to this, is your souls are going to connect with her soul. This isn't just a pretty face on camera. There's so
Mm.
much more behind the scenes. And what got you started on the Big Lady Project?
That's a good question. I have absolutely no idea. It was so long ago. All I know is it grew into something that had a mind of its own. And each year I was almost like running to keep up to it. Holy cow, it's getting bigger and bigger, and people are donating more and more and more and more money. And I need more and more people to help me buy all the stuff and assemble all the bags. And it's super fun. Anyways, this year, for some reason, for the first time in 13 years, I just had so much on my plate. I'm heading off to Africa pretty quick here to do some work with a foundation. And I knew I wasn't going to be able to pull it together. So instead, like, this is the power of technology and people, the love of people at Christmas. I put a Facebook post out in our neighborhood closed Facebook group, and I said, hey, listen, who would be willing to do a neighborhood food drive for the food bank this year? And I immediately got all women. Just gonna say, like, yes, 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 yes. We filled a van, like an actual van, so full of food, in 5 days. And that was it. It was so effortless. Like, people just want to give. People want to help. Sometimes it just takes one person to just do the organizing. So that was my version of the Bag Lady Project this year, but I was not going to not give.
Awesome. And
Mhm.
the people that you're touching, not just with your coaching, not just with the products, but the people in the community that loaded
Mhm.
things in the van. Like it's a ripple effect.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
that in itself is magic. I mean, there is a saying called giver's gain, and people don't understand what that means. It's different than adding a $2 donation when you're at Shoppers or when you're at the
Mhm.
grocery store. What you're
Good point.
doing is right is so much more than that. And again, how many people are like, oh no, it's no, no, thank you, no, thank you. I'm not going to do the $2. But even that makes a difference,
Mhm.
right? I like what you're doing better. And I'm going to be completely honest because by hearing your story and learning more about it, I know it's the proceeds are going directly to the person.
Yeah,
When you're
absolutely.
contributing $2 over a till, you don't know how that's being split.
That's true. Yeah. And of course, right now, just coming out of a pandemic and just going into a potential recession, the food banks are in need of food more than they've ever needed, for years and years and years and years. So it was a great time to be able to pull people together and give, give. That's what this season's about.
And is that for you where the magic of the season happens?
Absolutely. It's so interesting. This year, I don't have a single Christmas present under my Christmas tree, which is the first time ever. And I'm so excited about that because I don't need anything. My husband doesn't need anything. We don't want anything, but we're pretty happy about giving, right? And so this year, I
Nice.
said to my entire family, nobody needs anything, nothing. So I'm like, okay, sorry, everyone. I'm going to preface this by saying sorry, but Nobody's getting anything this year. And in lieu of everything we would have spent on every one of you, we're donating all that to the food bank as well. And everybody was like, yes, perfect, because we
Oh,
don't need anything. Yeah. Even my granddaughter and my grandson, my grandson's like 4 months old. He's not getting anything. And my granddaughter's getting one thing. That's it. All good. She can have my love. She can bake with me. She's got my time. And that's it.
so what I love hearing about that is, we're similar. We have grandkids, we have coaching businesses, we are wearing so many different hats, and you've made it a priority to do this and not
Mm-hmm.
to follow the tradition of shopping.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's
And
an amazing place to be at.
mhm, thanks. Well, I think what we talked about just briefly before we started our conversation, one of the things I said that I love, you said, what, tell me something new about you. And I said, well, this is my favorite time of the year. And you're like, why? And I said, well, actually, not for the typical reasons, but because this is the time of year where I actually sit down and I reflect, acknowledge, and refocus. So I
Yeah.
reflect on the year and I take time to acknowledge everything that I've accomplished or experienced or um, challenged myself with. And I acknowledge it because I believe as humans, especially I'm going to say more heavily women, we focus entirely on our failures and our what we didn't accomplish and what we didn't do and the weight we didn't lose and the thing we didn't buy and the vacation we didn't go on and the job we didn't get and the thing we didn't do for what about all the stuff you did do, right?
And yes, we talked about this a little bit off camera, and I was sharing with you how I've recently, since our last call. So Mia had said to me, what's new since our last call? And I'm like, yep, since our last call, like it was 3 weeks ago, literally since our last call. What's new? There should always be something new.
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't matter who you're speaking with, there should always be something new to share in your life. And if
Mm-hmm.
there's nothing new, that is something that you're going to want to circle back on and reflect
Mm-hmm.
on, because that means you're doing the exact same thing and you're not leaving yourself open to change or
Good
to
one.
growth, right?
Great point. Yeah.
And how many people have you met? Now you've been here, there, and everywhere. Like you said, you've moved so many times, but how many people have you bumped into? And oh, what's new and exciting? Nothing.
Nothing.
Like
Yeah.
nothing in the 20 years since I've seen you? Nope, nothing.
Yep.
Still live in the same house. And I'm like, oh, okay, well, you stay there. I'm gonna stay here and move on with my life. Great to see you. Because again, that's where the magic happens, the growth, the uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so much happens in that space.
And in the failing,
Is it failing though?
every, oh, 100%. Every failure is a beautiful lesson, right?
That's what I'm
So
saying. Is it failure? Yes.
sometimes it is failure, but I think people are so afraid of failing, but there's so much magic in failing. I failed on it, doing so many things in my life, and I don't regret one of them because I have learned so much from every failure. I'm just air quoting in case you can't see that because you can use whatever word you want in that space. Um, but that part of what holds people stuck in their comfort of oh nothing's new is the fear of is fear of whatever, fear of this, that, judgment, um, failure, whatever it happens to be. And that's not thriving, that's just surviving, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And again, you could have been approached from your family and friends with a completely different feedback and mindset for your choice this year of giving, because you're breaking the tradition of the commercial. Um, but but there's so much more. out of that moment. And that's because you are comfortable with change. That's because you say that you have failed, and a failure to somebody is not a failure to somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
And it's always a lesson learned, and it's always an opportunity to grow. But more importantly, it's an opportunity, and this is your word, to reflect and to
Mm-hmm.
realign and to
Yes.
acknowledge your biggest takeaway. And I was talking to my husband the other day about this, and I'm like, oh, I failed at that. And he's like, you have not failed. You have not even given up. Just because you're pausing for a week or two, failing is never getting back on that horse.
Yeah.
Failing is not just pausing for a mental break. Failing is entirely giving up.
Yeah. And
And I,
pausing is wisdom. Pausing is wisdom.
yes,
Pausing is understanding something's out of alignment, whether it's your values, whether it's your priorities, whether it's the intention, whether it's the direction. Something's out of alignment, and you're wise enough to intuitively understand that something's off here. I think we're just going to pause and see where this goes. Right?
right?
Yeah.
And with that pause,
Someone might
you
see
go,
that
you
as
go.
a failure, but it's really, there's a very distinct difference.
And I was going to say, with that pause, always comes growth.
Hmm.
Because
Absolutely.
when you're pausing, and now keep in mind, for those listening to this or even watching this, doesn't matter, but keep in mind, with pausing, if you don't pause, you will be forced to pause.
Mm,
Your life will tell you you are coming to a pause. You're either going
yes,
to be sick, you're going to be stressed, like whatever it is, you'll be forced to take a pause if you are not intuitive enough and in alignment enough to take those actions on yourself.
that's right. And then the pause is not your choice,
It's not your
right?
choice. And then you're even more in your head.
Hmm. Yeah.
So this is very fitting with the insights of the world going on right now, because this time of year is heavy to begin with. There's a lot of expectations from a lot of people all across the board. Employers want you, unless you take vacation, you're still working your full 40 hours or whatever that might look like, right? And you're juggling all of the things. And now, like you said, we are heading into a possible recession, especially here in Canada, with the cost of life going up and up and up.
Mhm.
And yet the cost of covering all of that not going up at
That's
all.
right.
So
That's right.
middle class is really being separated. It's more upper and lower class right now. The middle class is going to be wiped away. But without talking politics and that, the one takeaway is right now, because you and I are both coaches, is a lot of people will say right now, coaching is a luxury because
Mhm.
the choices are putting the money into coaching or putting the money over food or gas. And even those are a choice for some people right now. But
Mhm.
your mental health is not a luxury. Your mental health, especially when times are busy, is more of a priority. And if you don't take care of that, if you don't focus on taking the pause, taking the breaks, pacing yourself, and slowing down, it's going to have a major impact on
Mhm.
everything else. So, when you're reflecting on the year and you're talking to your clients and you're reminding them how important it is for them to acknowledge what they've done
Mhm.
and refocus for what they want to do differently. Let's talk about that hurricane again for 1 second. It's very easy to be trapped in that hurricane of life and go, 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 and do, do, do. The best way to slow down, the best way to handle it is to slow down. But that's the last thing that you want to think about when you're in the midst of that hurricane. So, how
Yeah.
do you encourage your clients to do just that?
It it always comes down to priorities, right? Just like your money story or your relationship to money is a direct reflection of your priorities. Your business is a direct reflection of your priorities too. I did a podcast recently called Busy is not a badge of honor. And there's needless busy and there's necessary busy, right? And within that, we always have the choice to prioritize. And the prioritizing is what creates the experience. So if you're number 5 on the priority list of 5, it's going to have a very predictable look, as opposed to you being number 1 on the priority list of 5. And by that, I don't mean you should be going out and getting manicures and facials and massages and take a hike. Husband, you go do all the cooking. And I'm not saying that. I'm saying take your 15 minutes in the morning of absolute sheer quiet time with your tea to focus your intention for the day. At the end of the day, take your 20 minutes of quiet time, even if it's in a bathroom with the door locked, so you have your decompression time. I'm talking more
Oh,
about
wait.
this type.
So I just want to interrupt for 1 second. As a young mom with 3 girls at the time, when you're in that bathroom and you lock the door, you want to open the drawer too.
Well,
Because they
that's
know how to
okay.
use a butter knife to get in there.
Well, that's actually that's a combination of necessary and unnecessary busy, because I was going to use the example of, like, let's take a single mom with 3 kids who's working 2 jobs. She's busy not by choice. That's busy out of necessity, right? And still within the necessary busyness, you still have a choice how you're going to prioritize everything. And prioritizing self is in support of your mental health always. So the
And
whole part around the money thing, I always find that one very interesting, because the first hurdle or obstacle that will show up for just about everyone in the world of coaching is going to be money. And money is a direct reflection of your personal priorities, because generally speaking, people have money for eating out, for buying seasonal throw pillows, for their wine, for going on their holidays, whatever it happens to be. So it's about priorities. And yeah, I'm gonna leave it at that. It's a direct
I couldn't agree.
reflection.
I could not agree more. And I know when it comes to money and facing that reflection, because you're right, what they're spending their money on. Well, I mean, I know we can go deeper on that, but we're just going to touch the surface a little bit. But then then there comes the avoidance of looking at the responsibility, the credit cards, and getting things fixed. Because maybe there was a momentary lapse, or maybe they're afraid and they're judging themselves. But you got to let all that go. If you're going to move forward, you just need to accept what is, surrender, and take that first step forward, which is the refocusing piece.
Yeah. So actually, it's a perfect segue, because I have some questions that I give to my clients at this time of the year, and it really gives them some direction or some guideposts around how to really embrace everything that they've accomplished or not accomplished in the previous year, and then use that as fodder to refocus for the following year. And I laugh because I have a real disdain for New Year's resolutions, especially being in the fitness industry for so long. I knew that the biggest um, time of year for every fitness center, of course, is January. And then within 6 weeks, those people are all gone. And I was always very passionate about exercise. So I wanted those people to be there for 365 days, not for 6 weeks. So I've always found it fascinating that people want to make massive change starting on Monday or January 2nd. And I'm going to say that I'm actually very opposed to that. It sets a person up for failure right away. Change needs to happen now, today, without any excuse. So May 4th, September 9th, July 15th, it doesn't matter what day, it doesn't matter what time. Change begins now and today, not Monday, not January 2nd. So that's why I love for clients to start revisiting really about the beginning of October, end of October. So the first thing I always ask them is to write down everything that they're proud of from the previous year, from 2022 in this case. So really sit down and walk your way through the year and remind yourself of everything that you are so proud of.
It's easy to lose sight of what you accomplished in January.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I had to.
Absolutely.
So I went through a transformation over the week and I'm hitting there. Like I'm still going through it a little bit, but I had to remind myself. And guys, this is so important of what you have accomplished throughout the year. So, yes, I want you to go on, Mia, and share with us a little bit more. But I want to say it
Yeah,
affects all. The reason why I'm sharing this is because it's one thing as coaches to hear us giving examples and giving suggestions and giving you prompts to think about. But an authentic coach, a vulnerable coach, a real coach is going to share with you that they go through this too.
absolutely.
And those are the ones that you want to work with because they've been there.
If you're not being coached or growing as a coach, you become stagnant yourself. So we're always doing our own work. I mean, as an example, for me, as I reflected on the year, just like everyone else, it was easy for me to immediately go to the things that I didn't accomplish that I said I would, and which was like two or three things. It doesn't even matter. When I really sat down and started looking at what I accomplished, I'm like, oh my God, no wonder I'm tired. So I started reflecting at the beginning of October, and I made a commitment to myself that moving forward, not January 1st, but as soon as I got back from Sedona, so like the 29th of September, I was actually going to slow down, step back, step away, lean back, and really integrate everything that I've learned, everything that I've done, all the people that have come into my world are there for a reason. And I decided that I was going to use that to integrate all of this information, and because it's powerful information, and decide what I want to do with it. So that's the period I'm in right now, is the reflecting and acknowledging as I take that into consideration as I move forward. So the second thing I always get my clients to look at is, okay, let's just look it in the face. What did you not accomplish? And then let it go. Okay, just let it go. It's done. Poof, gone. Um, what is the most important thing moving forward into 2023? What will they let go of moving forward into 2023? And what is the vision? So I really get them to take a good week, 2 weeks, to really journal this out and really reflect and decide, take their values into consideration, take their priorities into consideration, and create a massively powerful intention for the following year.
I love that. I love how you take all of these pieces and you have them think about it early
Mhm.
because a lot of people wait. They wait until the week between Christmas and New Year's. Oh, they know they want change. They know they're not happy with whatever it is. It could be their jeans not fitting. It could be their finances in their bank account. It doesn't matter what it is. It could be their house is unorganized. But they wait until they've slowed down enough to notice,
Mhm.
which is what I love about the fact that you're starting this process of reflection so much earlier with your clients. So they're ready to take action right away.
Absolutely. And
And
as we know, and I said previously, there is no time except right now. We assume there's going to be a January 2nd, but there isn't going to be a January 2nd for every single person. So if your jeans are tight, start now. Just make little teeny tiny changes, whatever they happen to be. You choose what they are, you know?
but on that, let's flip that for a second. Guys, if your jeans fit and they didn't fit 6 months ago, that's a win. That
Absolutely.
is a win that you probably didn't realize. So when you are slowing down, when you are pausing and reflecting, I had a couple notes for the title, but I'm debating now if I'm going to do the act of reflecting. Sorry, a time of reflection or the art of slowing down, which is what I might call it.
Mhm.
Because it's in that space where magic happens again.
Yeah.
Because just like you giving at the beginning that we talked about that, this is you giving yourself permission to surrender.
Mhm.
permission to accept, permission to understand that you weren't necessarily meant to go through all of these things at all of this time, but they will happen. You can just change the date on that goal. But what did you accomplish? So I know you have a meeting coming up shortly. So let's go over. You already
Mhm.
touched on one of them, your relationship with money. I love how it's connected with perspective. We don't see that. We don't, we see that, you and I see that, but people that are in a spot where they're looking for change and they think that they're stuck, they don't understand that their priorities need to be realigned
Yeah.
and that they are the number one priority.
Yeah.
And there are triggers that will set them off, which will make them go back into habits just like that, that aren't serving them.
Yep. Absolutely. And the priority piece is almost the foundation for it all. So long as you're fifth on the priority list of 5, your life will look very predictable. You will be hurried, you will be dissatisfied, you'll be stressed, you'll be anxious, might be depressed, you'll be frustrated, bitter, resentful, you'll be tired, exhausted, unhappy. Honestly, and there is no judgment. This is observation based on the work I've done my whole life. When you are number 5, and I keep saying on a list of 5 because the 5 priorities are spouse or significant other, family, friends, career, or vocation, depending, self, and of course your children. Um, and for most women, it's going to be children first, maybe their spouse second, sometimes, family, friends, work, and then self. Well, you cannot, it's not even possible to show up as in your greatest and best self if you're always number 5 on the priority list. So that is a foundational piece. Even if that's all people get from this particular episode, is to really look at moving yourself from fifth place to 4th. At least just get to 4th.
Yeah.
Just like a baseball game with too many, like, what are those things called that they run to?
Bases.
Yeah, that's it.
Base.
Yeah, it's like a baseball game with 5 bases. You just want to get to from 5th base to 4th base. And just slowly over time understand that that's really in service of you showing up stronger and healthier every time you move up the list.
Yes. And it is so important because what people don't realize, especially women, they don't realize that they're actually the hub of everything that's around them. Everything. They
Mhm.
see it backwards. They see themselves as a component to what's around them, but they are the hub as to what's around them. They make the magic happen. I guess magic is the word of the day on this call, but
Yes,
I've
it
said it
is.
so many times, but it must be because it's just coming out of me. So they don't see themselves in that light because they're sitting in that space where they're in that hurricane
Mhm.
and they're trying to come up for air and they're swept back up again. And they
Yeah,
don't even know how to pause because when they do pause, they crash and burn and they're out sick and they can't even think,
it's a good point.
right?
Yeah, and in that space of busyness, there is no opportunity for pausing.
No. In that place of survival, there is no place
Mhm.
either. So if you're in that space of survival, there's so many tools and tips that you can still do until you're ready and you're financially in a position where you can invest. And I encourage
Mhm.
you to continue to listen to these and reach out and see what resources are available, from free quizzes to assessments to
Mhm.
helping out with the the bag lady project. There's so much you can do that you'll start to feel the difference. And when you
Yeah,
start to feel the difference, that's when you will believe in yourself again and know that it is possible no matter where you're at with your finances.
yeah, and the universe will match that.
The
That change
universe
in
will match
vibrational
that.
frequency, yeah, the,
Yes.
the universe
Yes.
will match that.
So we talked about money. We talked a little bit about mindset. Is there anything else about mindset you want to add?
Uh, well, I love the saying that your life is only as good as your mindset. Uh, is that how it goes? Just a minute. Got it right here. Your
I
life is as
haven't
good
heard
as your
it.
mindset.
Okay.
You've never heard it? Yeah, your
No,
life is as good
no.
as your mindset. But I like shifting it ever so slightly to your life is as great as your mindset. So everything, every form of change in the human experience begins with a new awareness. Every time you create a new awareness, you have an opportunity to then have different choices. You can't have different choices if you do not have any awareness around whatever it happens to be. So your mindset, your life is as great as your mindset. That's how I'd like to
Absolutely.
close this.
Absolutely. Um, we talked about, well, we didn't talk about it. Okay, so let's talk about meals. Where do meals fit into all of this with you?
In what way?
Well, I'll go first, and then that might open up some ideas for you. So we're talking about mindset today. We're talking about, a little bit about your relationship with money. We talked about giving back. But what a lot of people, a lot of listeners don't realize is the connection with healthy eating and your mindset.
Ah, gotcha. Yeah.
Yeah. Like it's
Um,
huge. It's like you really can't afford not to because of what's going on in here. And literally you're fueling your body with what it needs.
yeah. Again, I would take people right back to priorities. So I know I've had an intention for many years to respect my body in a way that no one else ever can or ever will. And part of that respect that I have for my body is to fuel it in the healthiest way possible. So I love to cook and I love to cook healthy and I love to plan and make sure that there's always food available at any given time in the day in my fridge because I have crazy work, right? So I schedule my life around exercise and food. And that is part of my prioritizing for me. I always know I have healthy food available to me at any given time. I treasure it. I take great pleasure in it. And so it's just about priority. That's what it comes down to.
And would you say there's a correlation between your mindset and what you eat?
Absolutely. The healthier that goes in, obviously, the healthier the internal environment is going to be, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. And guys,
Yeah.
it can be as simple as a smoothie if you don't know where to start. It can be as simple as
Mm-hmm.
healthy rolled oats if you don't know where to start. So many different things that we can add. And you had mentioned
Yes.
movement. You had mentioned movement. Tell me about your daily movement or your regular movement. Doesn't have to be daily, of course.
Um, well, because I'm from the fitness industry, it's just a part of it's in the fabric of my DNA. Literally, I wake up each day. It's actually scheduled right in my work in my day planner. Um, I basically exercise based on the weather. So when I wake up in the day, it's like, oh, it's a run day. Oh, it's a bike day. Ooh, it's a yoga day. Oh, it's a gym day. It's pouring rain. So, but I never miss it, and it's always blocked into my day. So regardless of whether it's a bike or a run or yoga or whatever it happens to be, oh, I see. Oh, today I'm exercising from 11 till 1. Okay, got it. Everything shuts down, and I'm out the door. So that's just for me how it's always worked. That's not for everybody. Some people are gym goers. What I would suggest is you block out time
Mhm.
and you never compromise it. Again, that makes you a priority. It makes your health a priority, your mental well-being a priority, your body a priority. It's all about making you a priority.
Absolutely. And I still want to go on and talk to you about that. The only thing I want to say to that, because like you, as a personal trainer, I love exercise. And like you, I do it a lot with the weather as well. Get me outside as much as I can. But I want to say, if you had to prioritize sleep over movement, what would you do?
Sleep.
Exactly.
Especially
And
now at my age.
I was going to say, as you're listening to this, don't be afraid. As important as exercise is, if it means that you're accidentally sleeping in to get more sleep because your body needs it, your body needs rest more than it needs anything else. You have to listen to that. Try to fit your exercise in at a different time if you're normally a morning person. I like to be outside as much as I can, but if it means trumping sleep,
Mm-hmm.
you're tired for a reason.
Yeah, absolutely. And especially as
Yeah.
we get older. I mean, the whole menopausal piece, that's a whole other conversation, but
Yeah.
we really have to respect and honor that too. And everything changes with menopause. Your food, your body shape, your exercise, your level of energy, your sleep, it all changes. And again, it all comes right back to priority. I'm like, okay, I get it. I don't sleep as well. I get it. I'm may weigh the same, but I certainly don't have the same body composition as I used to have. Uh, what am I going to do? Stop eating and exercise more? Nuh-uh. This is how it's going to be.
Yeah.
Accept it, embrace it, move on.
Yep. Yeah. I
Mhm.
mean, healthy comes, people in the industry knows that healthy comes in every shape and size. Relatively,
Mhm.
relatively.
Mhm.
Of course, you know what I'm talking about, but it's not just a perfect size zero that makes you healthy or whatever it might look like. And that's, like you said, a completely different topic we can talk about at a different day, but it's about embracing the stage of life where you're at and what you're growing into.
Yeah.
Mia, I'm gonna ask you to send me some information because I know you need to
Sure.
go. So send it behind the scenes on the bag paper project because I know people are going to be curious, or the bag lady project. I'm sorry, I said that wrong.
That's okay. Yep.
Um, and your bio, and I'm going to make sure I include that in everything so all of our listeners know how to listen or how to reach you. And we're going to get this out there as soon as we can.
That's awesome. Thank you so much for having me and for having this conversation around giving people permission to focus on all the positives rather than the negatives, which is kind of how I want to close this. Like really that we tend to do that as human beings. We focus on all the instead of all the what. So yeah.
Okay, I have a new title. This is it, the
What is it?
final one. It's
What
called a
is it?
positive. It's called a positive spin.
Perfect. Love it.
Yeah. Episode
Good.
133. This is going to be
Woo.
released via podcast for next week, which is going to be December 27th, 26th.
Perfect timing.
Yeah, perfect timing. So the YouTube will probably go out sooner, but we'll see.
Okay. Thank you so much,
Thank you.
Sonia, and have a wonderful Christmas. And
You
I look
too.
forward to talking to you soon.
Thank you so much, guys. And thank you, Mia,
Bye.
for showing up today. Have a great day and Merry Christmas.
Thanks. Bye bye.
Bye.